Steven Crowder definitely adds to it, so shout out Crowder on that one. Let's just get straight into it. By the way, most people that watch my videos do not subscribe, so make sure you subscribe. I post 2 new videos every single day, and let's just get into it, because it's a good one.
That have been misinformed by Donald Trump and Steven Crowder's lies. Steven, your response?
Yeah, one thing, I don't like the way that these panels sometimes some people descend into nothing but ad hominem and interrupt each other. So I promise you, I'm going to respect your time, and you will not hear me speak a single time today, not one interruption, until you hear this bell. I guess that's if you give me the floor. So not going to address the ad hominem, but I've never been banned from YouTube. As a matter of fact, this will be up on YouTube. The election live stream of the century will be on YouTube as well. Every single example that was just given was not addressed to the American people at large, and not even the Democratic voting base at large. America is for Americans. Are black people not Americans? Are Hispanic Americans not Americans? The qualifier that I have always made, and Donald Trump has always made, and the reason that so many Americans support him, is because there aren't those qualifiers of race that we see in identity politics. Every single example, I could go through all of them, the people around Kamala Harris, the people surrounding her, are scum and garbage.
Get ready, guys. Make sure you watch this entire video, because the debate gets extremely heated. Let's just get back into it.
These garbage. The key difference here that we see, and I've gone through this quite a bit because the New York Times had a whole running article, at least between 2015 and 2021, as to all of Donald Trump's insults on Twitter before he was banned. You won't find Donald Trump insulting the American voter like you do with the left. They did refer, we can argue the phantom.
Yeah, I mean, think about what they're doing right now with why Trump won and Kamala lost. Oh, the American voter, they're misinformed, they're stupid, they're homophobic, they're racist, they're sexist, all the isms, all the ists. Yeah, you think that's going to win over people in the next election by insulting them?
Apostrophe, like you said, I appreciate you recognizing its absurdity. Donald Trump goes after those who are in power, the elites. He refers to the DNC, he refers to the establishment. You may not like him referring to the swamp, you may not like him referring to people inside the Beltway, but he's never gone after the American voters. He actually does respect them, and he's trying to win them over. That's what we're actually talking about. And it's the Achilles heel of the Democrat Party today. They're very elitist. That's the problem with garbage.
Was it still damaging for Donald Trump to have this guy, Tony Hinchcliffe, at Madison Square Garden? I was there, and aside from anything else, the joke fell completely flat in the room, so it didn't work even on a comedic value with him. Although I thought Jon Stewart made a good point that this guy's a roaster. It's what he does. He roasts everybody and everything. But putting that aside, I saw Megyn Kelly and Bill O'Reilly both saying, look, if you're going to get to the last week of a race, you don't want to have people at your rallies insulting the whole of Puerto Rico, given how many Puerto Ricans, for example, are in the state of Pennsylvania, a crucial state. Do you agree with that?
I don't care. And I mean, I know we're discussing perception. Look, I think there's a huge difference, for example, between a roast comedian or an insult comedian making a joke. I think there's a big difference between that and...
By the way, they're referring to when the comedian killed Tony Hinchcliffe, I believe his name is, went to a rally and spoke on stage for a MAGA rally, and he made a joke about Puerto Ricans. Yes, his thing is roasting. He has an entire, very popular and huge show where they just roast each other. So that's... what else is to be expected?
The sitting president of the United States, between biting baby stints, referring to the American voters as garbage. You may not like one, but I don't think that we should be applying the same standard. Donald Trump has never called anyone garbage. Barack Obama referred to half of America as bitter clingers. Hillary Clinton, at least half of Trump voters as deplorables. And you know what? I've heard people refer to that joke as horrifying. I hate when people feign offense when they're not really offended. Maybe some people are offended.
I'm so on board with Steven Crowder here. Like, it's so annoying when conservatives act like they're so offended by things. Like, I thought we made fun of the left for being snowflakes. I'm sorry. I'm going to call out my own side on this. Like, when conservative women are like, oh my gosh, it's so insulting that, like, men dress up as women. It, like, takes away from womanhood. I don't feel any less of a woman because someone who is a little confused in the head puts on a skirt, or because a guy puts on a skirt. I'm sorry. Do I think it should be celebrated? No. Do I think they should be in, like, men should be in women's bathrooms? Absolutely not. But it sure as hell is not taking away from my confidence in my gender. Like, I know I'm a woman. Like, these things don't offend me because I'm not a little biatch. Fortunately, most conservatives are actually pretty bitchy and whiny and blah, blah, blah. Don't like that. Comment below if you agree, and subscribe if you agree. That's a hot take.
offended. I think a lot of people aren't that offended by the joke, at least not as much as they let on to be. But I've heard a lot of people refer to it as horrifying, that rally. I don't think a joke from an insult comic is horrifying. You know what I do think is horrifying? I don't know if you know this. Adolf Hitler, the Nazis, killed 6 million Jews. I know it's lost on a lot of people. I think that's horrifying. And I think to belittle the horrifying acts of the Nazi Party, the National Socialist Workers' Party, by referring to Donald Trump as a Nazi, which is largely the reason he was the subject of an assassination plot at least 2 times that we know of, I think that's horrifying. But that's just my opinion, and I'll disagree with you.
Well, I actually agree with you, but someone who doesn't is the host of The Bulwark, Tim Miller, who has this to say in response. Tim?
I was just laughing listening to all that.
Nice earpods, bro. Nice.
Because Donald Trump's never called anybody garbage. Donald Trump called Kamala Harris's advisors garbage just like the other week. Donald Trump said America is a trash can and the world is sending their garbage, which is migrants here. Donald Trump's called me and other people that oppose him in the media the enemy of the people. He's called people human scum. He said that Haitian migrants were eating cats and dogs. Do we need to keep doing this like this? Like we're going to pretend to be offended on behalf of Donald Trump? I mean, and Steven Crowder, by the way, his whole career, that's why he's on Rumble, not on YouTube. He got kicked off YouTube because all he does is insult gay people, insult trans people.
Okay, I love that. Love that. Steven Crowder, our king. That's what we need more of.
And the only garbage I know is Steven Crowder and Donald Trump. So they're garbage. I don't think all of Donald Trump's supporters are garbage. I think that many of them are good people that have been misinformed by Donald Trump and Steven Crowder's lies.
Stephen, your response.
Yeah, well, look, one thing, I don't like the way that these panels sometimes some people descend into nothing but ad hominem and interrupt each other. So I promise you, I'm going to respect your time, and you will not hear me speak a single time today, not one interruption, until you hear this bell. I just ask that you give me the floor. So not going to address the ad hominem, but I've never been banned from YouTube. As a matter of fact, this will be up on YouTube. The election live stream of the century will be on YouTube as well. Every single example that was just given was not addressed to the American people at large, and not even the Democrat voting base at large. America is for Americans. Are black people not Americans? Are Hispanic Americans not Americans? The qualifier that I have always made, and Donald Trump has always made, and the reason that so many Americans support him is because there aren't those qualifiers of race that we see in identity politics. Every single example, I could go through all of them, the people around Kamala Harris, the people surrounding her, are scum and garbage. That's not going to be misinterpreted as Kamala's supporters are garbage. The voters of Donald Trump are deplorable. These people are scum. Kamala Harris is dumb, whatever he said. That's very different from the hatred, the reviling of the American voter you're for.
People on the left, they're very, very quick to be very offended by Trump's rhetoric. This has been going on for 8 years now. This guy talks in a disparaging way about people. It's unacceptable. It's awful. Blah, 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 blah. But you think nothing as a group are constantly flashing the Nazi word around. Fascist, Nazi, and now garbage. Why is it one rule for Trump? Why do you want him to clean up the way he talks, but a completely different set of rules for your own side? Why are you allowed to just go around calling people mass murderers?
I'm not. Like I said, the only people
Great question. Great freaking question.
called garbage were Donald Trump and Steven Crowder because they've acted like garbage by disparaging people their entire careers. Like that was the whole premise of both of these two guys' careers. Donald Trump's just been a little bit more successful at it. So Joe Biden's statement, I think, was like totally nonsensical marble mouth. And I was maybe one of the most vocal people saying Joe Biden shouldn't run for president again. Joe Biden isn't running for president. Kamala Harris is running for president. And she gave a speech on the ellipse where she talked about how MAGA voters would have and MAGA politicians would have a seat at the table in her administration. So you guys are trying to make something out of nothing, and you're trying to do this fake outrage where it's like in soccer, Piers, where you guys are flopping. You're flopping on the ground, hoping the refs call a foul on Joe Biden, when Donald Trump's whole career has been insults and lies and disparaging people, and also his actual actions have been hurtful. You know,
What is he talking about?
the sex that he committed on women, the fact that he banned people from coming to this country based on their religion, this separating of family. So Donald Trump is
all of the fake news is insane here.
His actions that have been harmful, and you guys can get mad about what the soon-to-be former president Joe Biden like incomprehensibly said, but he's not running against Joe Biden, and it seems like a desperate ploy to like put on a fancy costume and dress up like an Oompa Loompa.
All right, Stephen, I mean, last time I checked, Joe Biden remains the current president of the United States. He is the leader of the free world. And for him to pop up as Kamala Harris is delivering her supposed great final mission statement to the electorate on a Skype call, calling half of America garbage, struck me as just, never mind anything else. To the point where you think, was that deliberate? Is he trying to sabotage it?
Thank you. Again, I'm really going to avoid Ed Helmet, which is really tough because it seems to be coming from the other side of this panel here.
Well, I will note for the record that you have not gone ad hominem. And Tim, to be fair, all you've done is abuse Steve. All you've done is abuse Steve on a personal level. I actually would like to rise above that.
His whole career is all he's done is attack gay and trans people. Now he's like, now he's getting offended, being called out for it. Just
what a stellar career! Amazing.
Look, just Google his history of his comments about gays, trans people, women. Like that's it. He is Mr. Ad hominem. So don't like try to be like, oh, I'm Mr. Nice Guy now. Come on, give me a break. Let's be honest.
Stephen?
Okay, thank you for giving me the floor. As far as it being ill-advised, I would say so with Joe Biden. The problem is that Kamala Harris was given so many opportunities to distance herself from Joe Biden. The Biden-Harris administration, she chose not to. She said there's not a thing that she would do differently, and she was one of his most important advisors in all of the decisions that had an impact. Vice presidents aren't always given such an easily identifiable pet project. She was. And I know the talking point is she wasn't the border czar, even though Biden said that. The point is she was in charge of, she was being tasked with discovering the root cause of the immigration issue. Well, we had 3 million under Donald Trump's tenure, and now we have at least 15 to 20 million on the low end. That is a huge impact that affects Americans. If we want to talk about Donald Trump's actions hurting Americans, look, I guess this is, we're back to 2016. The issue is no Americans have lived actions that have harmed them more than the latest administration. They've lived it. They lived Donald Trump for 4 years. They lived Biden Harris for 4 years. It doesn't work. It falls on deaf ears. It's like Paul Revere was like, the exact same economy is coming. The exact same economy is coming. What about the actions that have hurt? I would argue that the actions on the border, the actions on American energy, the policies which I would like to discuss have hurt Americans. It's why they're rejecting Kamala Harris. It's why they trust Donald Trump more on issues like the economy and immigration. And by the way, I'm one of the one example I've been presented, and by the way, I'm not offended by any of this. You haven't heard me faint outrage. I've just tried to describe the situation where Americans
Thank you. And as to no comment by an FBI, that's usually what they say when there's an ongoing investigation, particularly for these couple of days. Why? No, that's been the question that quite a number of people have been asking. Just having this here. What does this have to do with immigration? What does this have to do with why would the Republican leadership in the committee subhuman kind of language. He also said, even in Hitler's Germany, to cross the Alps to Switzerland, you could hide in an attic with Censorship. This is not the kind of free speech that free speech. Free speech is not an instinct. Let's not remember that this country first took place. We have staffers who openly follow white supremacy without any condemnation of the Republican Conference. Some give it chuckles, slaps on the back, shrugs, all under the mantra free speech. It's a free country. You absolutely have a right to say what you believe. But you don't have the right to a platform, public, our right does not mean that we as Americans
Maybe 5 minutes. We're pretty lax with this. We'll let them go. Yeah,
we've seen you gavel down on quite a number of witnesses.
Given senators and former Democrat members of Congress and all kinds of things.
Neither. Neither.
I'm just saying. This body ought to be concerned itself with the position. Issues, the border issues, many other issues that concern us all as a nation. We can't do that without the First Amendment, without debate. When I gave my speech, my announcement speech in Boston 2 months ago, I talked about all the issues. Speech, when I was talking about Paul Revere, you talk about excellence in that speech. I just was talking about my campaign. on life of our democracy. We need to be talking to each other. Now, this is a letter that many of you signed. Many of my fellow Democrats. I've spent my life in this party. I've devoted my life to the values of this party. 102 people signed this. This itself is evidence of the problem that this hearing is convened to address. This is an attempt to censor a censorship hearing. The charges in this, and by the way, and the First Amendment does not free speech. I was censored by the Trump administration. I was the first person censored by as the chairman pointed out, by the Biden. Censor people. Instagram account. The values of our country. After I announced my presidency, it became more difficult. Targeted propaganda. People like anti-vax. I've never been anti-vaccine, but everybody in this room probably believes that I have been, because that's the prevailing narrative. Anti-Semitism, racism. These are they're glad to be about inflation, about the war on the middle class in this country that we need to be having. And by the way, I want to say this while I'm on the record, that in my entire life, and why I'm under oath, in my entire life, I have never uttered a phrase that was either racist or anti-Semitic. I have spent my life fighting my professional career, fighting for Israel, the protection of Israel. I have a better record on Israel than anybody in this chamber today. I'm the only person who has publicly objected to the $2 billion payout that the Biden administration is now making to Iran, which is a genocide. After the Army McCarthy hearings in the 1950s, but those same weapons are now being deployed against me to silence me. I know many of the people who wrote this letter. I don't believe there's a single person who signed this letter who believes I'm anti-Semitic. I do not believe that. There is no evidence of that. I want to say something I think that's more important, and it goes directly to what you talked about, ranking member, which is the need, this toxic polarization. respectful condition. We need to start exploring At that time, one actually was like Darth Vader. So I was an environmental. I was but he was offended because he understood empathy and respect and compassion and empathy for other people. More importantly, today we need to put in this letter are distractions I didn't say those distractions, and I said it. Negative about people who are Jewish. I never said those things. And I want to point out also that the chairman pointed to Dennis Kucinich's fight behind me. There is no two people in the country who feel more differently about American politics than these two people. And yet they were friends. Dennis attended his children's basketball games, attended his daughter's wedding. This is what we need, how we need to start treating each other in this country. We have to stop trying to destroy each other, to marginalize, to vilify, to gaslight each other. We have to find that place inside of ourselves of light, of empathy, of compassion, and above all, we need to elevate the Constitution of the United States, which was written for hard times. And that has to be in here.
Thank you, Mr. Earlier about at the beginning of the when the post is still there. This kind of discussion on censorship and but the content of some of this speech that we are amplifying. I'm just troubled by the these individuals. The video the COVID vaccine time in Black America. Knowing that this is dangerous. Also be unaware that this comes from an individual who, by Mr. Roy's introduction, is very smart and understands the implications of this. You know, Mr. Kennedy's own family just decries his stance on vaccines, and families disagree on this. So that careful and not necessarily have the same safeguards to protect my family, my children, from a virus that has killed millions of people because I'm black. There's no secret that this is an amplification of his own platform. You know, I'm not going to talk about the money that's received from the Children's Health Defense, from his anti-vaccine organization that's responsible for a majority of the false information out there about COVID, and the notoriety that's gained from it by manipulating Black and other vulnerable communities to propagate these pseudosciences.
Gentleman from North Dakota is recognized. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to yield my time to Representative Massey.
I thank the gentleman from North Dakota. Wow. The irony and cognitive dissonance from the other side of the aisle. It's deafening. You could cut it with a knife. They are at the same time denying that censorship is occurring, but suggesting that there's more material that needs to be censored. This is a hearing on censorship that began with an effort, with a formal motion from the other side of the aisle to censor Mr. Kennedy. They do not want him to speak, yet that is the topic of this hearing. They have kept him from speaking. A collusion between the government and private organizations. Mr. Kennedy, in your opening statement, you introduced us to this word malinformation. Can you tell us more about this made-up word, what it means, and some of the things that you've said or tried to say that you've been censored for that's been characterized as malinformation?
Yes, Congressman Massey, and if by your leave, I'd like to just respond briefly to some of the what I would call defamations that have been just applied to me by the ranking member. I'm happy to talk to you about my opinions on what you have stated and tried to associate me with through guilt by association is simply inaccurate. Virtually, I would say every statement that you just made about me is inaccurate. I have never advised Black Americans not to receive vaccines. At one point you say I'm anti-vax, that's a bad thing. The other thing, the moment you point out that all my children are in fact, I'm fully compliant with the vaccine schedule myself, except for most. I took flu vaccines for 20 years straight. I have never been anti-vax. I have never told the public I want medication. It's hard BBC official experiment for years and years to appeal to and to say that I created a film that encourages Blacks not to get adequate medical care is just completely abhorrent. If the
Given it to the witness, do not censor.
exchange.
many also note in censorship that the front has about me playing the race keep us in our place. Oh, you're playing the race. Presidential election. We note that Russian trolls sought to suppress the black vote by unleashing a torrent of social media posts designed to stoke racial tensions and spread incorrect voting information. In 2021, our national intelligence agencies found that proactive information sharing between the government and social media facilitated an expeditious review and, in many cases, removal of social media accounts overtly operated by Russia and Iran. Ms. White, if the government is not able to proactively share information with social media companies in 2024, what is the likelihood to
Mr. Prigozhin, who's been in the news of late, actually said explicitly and openly that they would continue to try to spread mis and disinformation into the United States and interfere with our elections.
Thank you. Russian interference, that is, the MAGA Republicans know that Trump benefits when Russia interferes. The super PAC that supports, the same super PAC that supports Mr. Kennedy and has raised significant funds on his behalf is run by a man named Jason Bowles. Here's Jason Bowles' Twitter profile, as you can see up on the screen. Jason Bowles isn't just a MAGA supporter, he also playing Mr. Kennedy's super PAC is wants the Republican Party to succeed. Yet, Mr. Kennedy is running as a Democrat. Ms. Wiley, will it benefit Mr. Kennedy as well as the other individuals that are supported by the Super PAC if social media companies are less able to detect and, if needed, if they determine that it's needed, to remove Russian covert information designed
You are responding. Yeah, I'm going to Mr. Bowles and I'm going to this typical of the accusations against me at this hearing. They are baseless. Every single one I've been subjected to restraint of defamation. If I believe those things about myself, I wouldn't want to hear me either. You want to gag me and lock me in a room somewhere. And none of those are true, and they were all this parade of accusations and defamations were made against me in a way that was calculated to make sure that I could not respond to any of them. Every one of them I'd like to respond to, but I was not allowed to.
I did want to ask Ms. Wiley regarding, we had a discussion and it was brought up by one of the witnesses related to the website Gap. And if you could tell us, it seems to me that while Mr. Kennedy's hearing claims have been censored, but in reality, his group Children's Health Defense has been allowed to say whatever they want on Gab. Can you share what Gab is?
Gab is a online community, that it explicitly states that it wants to create a Christian political economy, and it is a space where researchers have identified a massive influx of extremist and also explicitly anti-Semitic engagement and behavior. Not saying that's about everyone who participates, but that has been documented. And as I stated
Anything
earlier,
breaks, the forge is hot.
the convicted murderer in the Tree of Life massacre actually spent a lot of time on that, and it was deplatformed because it was not to some of the social media policies about identifying that kind of speech.
Thank you. I yield back.
I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. We appreciate the work you're doing to defend the First Amendment, and thank you for this very compelling answers and compelling testimony, and how important this is. I'm sure that with super PAC, I'm sure the Democratic witness will be as short as he possibly can.
No. Are you going to allow our witness to just give another witness?
No, let him address the defamatory comment that was made about super PAC is connected to somebody that
Like the gentleman.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118
I'd only met Colin a few times in person, and we shot together for 8 months.
Hello.
What was Hugh like?
My birthday dessert today was one of my mom's favorites from when she was a kid. She talked about these all the time. They're called Charlotte Russe. And it's a sponge cake with whipped cream and a cherry on top. Now, I should tell you, Charlotte Russe has no political leanings. And the place that made these refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No.
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But it's not can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics. But that's okay because you know what? Listen, this is my mother's celebration. Pick these up and celebrate me.
She tried to spin it like she was a victim, and basically she became a female or a black Karen, a female black Karen, because she wanted to create some controversy as a result, and this is just more civil war within themselves, trying to come to terms with the idea of Trump winning the election and Harris losing. And so now she's trying to make it seem like, oh my God, the bakery wouldn't bake for me because perhaps because of my political leanings. How can you come to that? How can you come to the conclusion unless the bakery says that they don't want to make it because of your political leanings? Why would they then deny you, knowing that it's a possibility for them to get negative press in order to do so? When I first heard this, when this first started going viral, I waited, right? I didn't react to this immediately because I wanted to get the full story and I wanted to better understand exactly what's going on. Because it didn't sound right to me, it did sound fishy. Of course, we knew, and she knew, that people were going to find out what the bakery was and where the area was that made it and all of that stuff, and very much they did. And so what happened was, initially, there was a negative backlash because you know the internet do what the internet do. You can't hide nothing, and that's why it's always good to be better and be transparent. But basically, Whoopi Goldberg made herself a Karen. Now, why wouldn't she also take into consideration that it's a possibility that they weren't lying, and then some other situation happened, or maybe the ovens got up and running, or maybe they already had inventory, but they didn't do enough to do it, so people went down. Like, there's so many different possibilities, but to go on to your show and then to make this assumption, while we know that these small business owners are already trying to figure it out at higher costs and food costs, employee costs, and all of this stuff, and it only takes one bad review, let alone one major bad review or a negative reaction before somebody can absolutely tear your business down. We've seen that. And you want to go online and just absolutely positively destroy their reputation and then try to make it seem like, well, no, I wasn't trying to destroy their reputation.
I could teach you how to forge your own shield, little man.
Old Variana will do you right.
This show already removed from the air, and what other lunch ladies is watching this? But make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, make sure you get that Teach Henley 40% off your first order plus 20% off the life. And then last but not least, make sure you get your tickets to come and kick it with me in person December 14th in Detroit. It's going to be an absolute great time.
I wouldn't say no
So let
to
me
some
show you
help.
what the response is of the business owners and how people are coming to their defense and aid.
I think the bottom line here is after we're going to call up Jill, who has had to endure something that she shouldn't have to endure. These people up at 3 or 4 o'clock every morning
the sacrifices they've made, the holidays they've missed with their families. To make Staten Island better, they have sacrificed for 145 years. Rutherford B. Hayes was the President of the United States, for God's sakes. And they're still here, and they're still strong, and they're not going anywhere, despite what other people on television have to say. And frankly, the people who defame the Holtzman family should apologize to the...
He was 100% right, and that not everybody is focused on politics and a good business person.
I said, has any of your previous or current partners ever cheated on you?
Yeah, it's happened.
Sad times, that makes sense.
I think that's pretty common, especially with
What you asked for. Ready for a massacre.
Dislikes women, projects hatred towards women.
Okay, what has he said that would lead you to believe that?
I mean, his whole attitude, he's so
as it turns out. You're a princess. You're going to call me the
So wait,
it's just his attitude.
no, I was the one who pointed. You made that.
I don't even know how you're going to get it.
Just gotta stop interrupting. You gotta stop interrupting.
There's going to be real challenges in your life, but actual ones. Not some guy who says, listen, let me challenge what you're saying here briefly, right? That is so much. The guy's misogynist, and he is in such a safe place for not being a misogynist.
real challenges come down the road.
You know nothing about me. That's when it's hot shit, right?
Nothing for no one.
Like I was a woman here. It's shagging a load of other people. No.
That's literally fake news.
Well, it's not though, is it?
Yeah, it is though.
What? So you with a woman that's got your kids? Your kids. So are you with a woman that has your kids? No.
No.
But you're a massive Christian.
Joe.
You have an issue with women because you produce. Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but you seem to have hatred towards all women, and then you say all this shit about women having different partners and all this. Not paying son.
What are you talking about? I don't think so. I just think you're dumb.
Different people. However, your wife has done that. What's your why different?
Wait, stop it down.
Wait, before you leave, I'm gonna let people do it. We're gonna do another $69 roast.
That'll cover back any other. Carving meat from bone is my specialty. That's a prime cut, You won't nudge. Broken. Ariana's your girl. It seems we're leaving.
It is done.
Lamb feast.
I'll see you again.
Time to go, it seems. no other people I'd rather break bread with. You welcome me when no one else would.
So I was getting makeup and everything was fine. So I was getting my dad. I was got my calls later, and I walked on set. Greetings, everybody. And the director comes up to me, David, who says, "You're acting, he's screaming in my face. The days keep moving. You're late. This and that, just screaming." I'm like, I'm still taken aback. And I am just like, whoa. And the AD goes, let's do this after the get this paint. This is the big shot, big crane shot. I go, we'll talk about that after. The crane's going down, they're rolling camera. I wish they would have saved it. And Eric listened to the video, and I go, no. As the camera goes, I look at the camera and go, fuck you. And I beeline up to this guy. And they had to hold me back. I had an incident with this guy. So I was getting makeup and everything was fine. So I was getting my dad. I was got my calls later, and I walked on set. Greetings, everybody. And the director comes up to me, David, and says, "You're acting, he's screaming in my face. The days keep moving. Just you're late. This and that, just screaming." I'm like, I am just like, whoa. And the AD goes, let's do this after. You gotta get this paint. This is the big shot, big great shot. I go, we'll talk about that after. The crane's coming down, they're rolling camera. I wish there was saved it. And Eric listened to the video, and I go, no. As the camera goes, I look at the camera and go, fuck you. And I beeline up to this guy. And they had to hold me back. I had an incident with this guy. So I was getting makeup and everything was fine. So I was getting my dad. I was
You already got food in there, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Once I get started, I can't be stopped.
We do aren't there. Watch a movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Maybe. We got plenty to eat. I got chicken soup in the fridge. I got a little bit of meat from last night. There's chicken soup in the fridge.
The light is needed in the darkest of places. Yet sometimes the light must call on darkness in turn.
Once I get started, I can't be stopped.
Yes, guide my hand.
You welcome me when no one else would.
As they come, so they go. Welcome, Wanderer. I've been expecting you. is a terrible thing. Walk with the spirits, wanderer.
It seems we're leaving. Mind the equipment. That'll put some hair on your chest.
You're done eating, let's watch a movie.
It seems we're leaving.